Okay, I am super excited for this one. We have an interesting update regarding Nintendo San Francisco and many unexpected updates regarding the Nintendo Switch 2, especially interesting comments from Digital Foundry, which y'all already know how I feel about them with what they've done with the Switch 2. I feel like they've lost a lot of credibility, but that's besides the point. Before we jump into this news video, y'all already know what I'm about to ask. Guys, we're so close to 18,000 subscribers. I think we're about 300 away. I'm trying to hit it before I head to New York City, which is in exactly 2 weeks from now, and we'll be filming in New York at the Switch 2 line right in front of the Nintendo store. We've been uploading every single day, so if you guys can help us make history, or I guess history for me, I'd greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's jump right into the news. Okay, so they actually uploaded a video on Hogwarts Legacy comparing the Switch 1 version and the Switch 2 version. Now, I wish more companies would do what Hogwarts Legacy did today, because seeing the gameplay difference from the Switch 1 and Switch 2 is absolutely amazing. Now, I'm aware that some people already do gameplay visuals and compare them to other things, but I feel like we should start seeing these type of videos officially from these companies, and we don't really see that happen very often. And you can see the clear difference of Hogwarts Legacy on Nintendo Switch 1 and Nintendo Switch 2. Overall, this is showing a big jump in comparison in terms of graphics, frame rate, all of that type of stuff. It was a nice trailer. You guys should definitely check it out. Another thing is we talked about how you can actually upgrade the digital copy of the game. As of right now, we don't know if the physical upgrade exists because it's $10 if you bought the game digitally. And the game is actually on sale right now on the eShop for like 17 bucks. So you could buy the game digitally and then be ready to upgrade for $10 on the eShop when the Switch 2 comes arrive. And that would mean you'd have a Switch 2 game that you only had to pay $27 for compared to $60. The only downside is it's digital, but you know, Hogwarts Legacy is a game key card, so a lot of people already have complaints about the physical copy of that game. Just throwing that deal out there for you guys, as you know, we like to save people money if we can give them the opportunity. Either way, I'm pumped to see how Hogwarts Legacy is going to look and run when the game comes, because it already looks amazing and I just can't wait to try it with those new controls. Okay, Nintendo Today continues to actually be useful. Over the last few weeks, it has not been the greatest app to use, but this time we got a pretty unexpected update. Now, we already knew with the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller that we were going to have the option to customize the button layout on games and stuff. Because of how the Pro controller comes, because there's those extra buttons at the bottom of the controller. Nintendo has shown through the quick menu that you can actually customize how you want the controller to be for that said game when you're in the game. You don't have to go into the game settings. You can easily do it through the quick menu, which is honestly pretty cool. They showed footage of how it works. It honestly looks pretty fast. I think this will probably be an exciting thing for people that care about controller customization, as there's a lot of people out there that's probably going to use it for games like Xenoblade, for example, maybe even Mario Kart, and who knows, maybe whenever that next Smash Bros. Game arrives, maybe that's something that gets utilized. I'm not really sure, but I know that a lot of people are probably going to use this, and it's cool that Nintendo has it as a quick feature through the quick menu. I wasn't really expecting that. I thought it was going to be through the settings of the actual game. Nonetheless, great features from Nintendo. Got a little bit of Fast Fusion news for you. Now, we obviously know that Fast is very inspired by F-Zero. Obviously, we haven't had a new F-Zero game in so long, like an actual mainline, not F-Zero 99. And that's kind of where this Fast game came out. It was heavily inspired. It had one on the Wii, and then it had one on the Wii U, and then the one that actually was on the Wii U got ported to the Switch. So we haven't seen a brand new Fast game since the Wii U. And now with one arriving on launch day for the Nintendo Switch 2, they announced some of the cast that will be a part of Fast Fusion. And one of the actors is actually in F-Zero, which I thought was really cool. I think the character's name is Blood Shadow, but I want to make sure I get that right. And it's the person that voices Black Shadow that will be a part of the main voice cast of Fast Fusion. I think it's really cool to see them have this. They probably would like to get more F-Zero actors into the game, but either way, it's cool to see this happening. If you guys are wanting to see a F-Zero game on the Switch 2, It's probably not going to happen. This is going to be the closest thing you get to it. But trust me, the fast games are super duper fun. I'm really excited to pick this up on launch day. I hope a physical copy comes out because I'll still double dip because this game has always been super duper good. I am very pumped, especially we talked about it before. It looks like there might be a 120 frame per second mode in the works for this game. Okay, so Remedy has actually talked about the Nintendo Switch 2 for the first time. They have an upcoming game coming out that I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all, I have never heard of this game. To me, when I see a title like this, I immediately think it's a fake video game. Maybe it's not, but Remedy was promoting their fake video game called FBC Operation Firebreak. Is that Firebreak? Yes, or it doesn't even have Operation in the title. FBC Firebreak. Talked about how they would actually like to bring this game to Nintendo Switch 2. Nothing's in the works, but their goal is to bring this game to as many platforms as possible because they want as many hands on the game as possible. Now, the reason what I find so interesting about this is if Remedy's wanting to put this on here, I feel like this definitely opens the door to some more games from Remedy coming to the Switch 2. Obviously, Remedy has a presence on Switch 1, but they don't have the greatest presence, if I'm being honest. They put out Alan Wake Remastered for the Switch 1, and that is considered one of the worst Switch games of all time. I think they flat out just ported the PS5 version onto the Switch and didn't even try optimizing it. It's honestly a really bad port. It is one of the worst things I've played for Nintendo Switch, which is sad because Alan Wake is such a good game. And then they obviously have a Cloud Edition game of Control. They actually talked about how they attempted to put Control onto the Nintendo Switch. It just wasn't working out, so they went the cloud path. So I'm curious if they put this game on here, maybe this opens the door to having a native port of Control coming to the Switch 2, and then an actual proper working version of Alan Wake Remastered. Either way, I think this is exciting to see, and it gets us closer to what is probably one of my most wanted games for the Nintendo Switch 2, which is probably never happening, Alan Wake 2 for the Nintendo Switch 2. If we can make that happen, that would be incredible, but I don't think it's possible. But you know what? If they put the time and effort, I truly believe you could put any game onto the Switch, so let's see what happens with that. Either way, it looks like Remedy knows of the Switch 2. They're talking about the Switch 2, and I think support from Remedy could be coming within the next few years. Okay, this one's very interesting. Now, the Nintendo San Francisco store is opening up today. Now, it has been talked about how they actually have a kiosk at their store where you can purchase a Switch and then customize the Joy-Con colors and straps. So you can have whatever color you want from their little system there. They'll make the Joy-Cons for you, and bada bing, bada boom. When you open up the system, those colors that you requested is in there. That is exclusive at the San Francisco store. This is actually a feature that is at the Japan stores over at Nintendo as well, but over in America, like the Nintendo New York store, we never got that type of kiosk. That kiosk is now here at San Francisco. I feel like in the future it could be coming to New York, but we've been seeing screenshots of the Nintendo San Francisco store, and honestly, it's pretty identical to the ones over in Tokyo. So I'm wondering if Nintendo New York is going to be its own separate thing and all the other Nintendo stores are going to follow that same branding that's over there in Japan, Tokyo, all that good stuff. Because if you compare those stores to what's happening in San Francisco with what we've seen so far, very similar, but then if you look at New York, it's like a totally different thing. I don't know. It's very interesting. I feel like that's what's happening though, because San Francisco, the whole layout has the same statues from over there in Tokyo. It's very interesting, but I hope to visit this store at some point because there is some really awesome exclusive merchandise over there that I'm hoping to get. Either way, if you guys got to go to the San Francisco store, let me know how it was in the comments down below. Hopefully I can go there soon. I don't know when, hopefully in the next few years. That's the goal. All right, this is probably one of the most exciting updates to talk about, and that's regarding SquareEnix. If you've been paying attention to what SquareEnix has been talking about over the last year, they've talked about how their franchises has probably not done as well as they expected, and they felt it had something to do with the fact that they were being exclusive to PlayStation. Like if you pay attention to the sell numbers of Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth, it sold well, but it didn't meet the expectations that Square Enix was hoping. and they feel that the reason why is because it was exclusive to PlayStation. So they talked about last year how in the coming years they want to move to multi-platform. They want to get out of doing exclusive games because they think that that's what's affecting their sell numbers. And we've seen with the Nintendo Switch 2 how it already has Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming to the Switch at some point, indicating that more Final Fantasy games will come to the Switch 2, at least the mainline ones, which is pretty exciting. But in today's meeting of SquareEnix, they posted their plan and they talked about once again how they are going forward with putting games on other platforms. They talked about how Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to the Switch 2. They have these little panels that they showed photos of indicating that more major games from Square Enix will be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 and other platforms. So overall, pretty exciting to see because I know that Square's numbers definitely were kind of dipping compared to previous Final Fantasy numbers. And if they can start getting Final Fantasy on multi-platforms, at least PlayStation, PC, and Nintendo day one, I think that's going to do wonders for them. It's definitely going to be something interesting to see. I'm curious to see what other games could come from Square Enix when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2. I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is definitely a lock. Seems like the whole trilogy of those games are coming to the Switch 2. I'm curious if Final Fantasy 16 could come to the Switch 2. I don't know what type of deal they have with PlayStation, because PlayStation does have some sort of exclusive rights to these games, but it's probably kind of like a one-year deal. I know at one point they did renew the contract for Final Fantasy VII Remake. It was supposed to be a one-year thing, and then they extended it another year. And I'm curious if PlayStation attempted to extend it, because obviously that's a big game to have for PlayStation fans, even though it's definitely hurting the series for Square Enix, which is probably why they're pulling out of any type of exclusive deals going forward. Either way, I think this is good news for all fans, honestly. I don't really see how this is any type of bad news in case, I guess the bad news is if you bought PlayStation 5s just specifically for Final Fantasy, you might not have a point anymore because it seems like everything's gonna move towards all platforms day one. Now, let me retake what I just said. Final Fantasy VII Remake is still going to have some type of exclusive contract with them, to where the third part is probably going to be exclusive to PlayStation 5 for at least 1 year. Same thing with Rebirth. We're probably seeing Rebirth come to the Switch 2 next year. I don't know though. We don't really know what the deal is with that, but it's probably something like that, a year or two exclusive rights when it comes to PlayStation. Guys, that is everything I have for you today. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. What was your favorite thing that we talked about today? Personally, I think the controller customization, where you can pick out your color of Joy-Cons that you want, is pretty cool. And I wonder, as we get through the Switch 2, is there going to be something similar for that once more color options are out there? I really don't know. I think it's still pretty cool and opens the door to a lot of different things. I wasn't expecting that feature to come over here to America. Overall, everything that's happening at that San Francisco store is looking really nice with all the exclusive merchandise. They're even bringing back the little mini statues that we thought was going to be exclusive to Japan over there at the San Francisco store. A lot of exclusive stuff happening over there. It seems like the New York store is kind of being left on its own, which is interesting. It's just so different from the other stores. But I've been talking for way too much, guys. Make sure to backslash that subscribe button, like the video, check out the Twitter, check out the Discord server, the Instagram, whatever else is in the description below. Monado Marine membership, $5 a month. The join button is in the description. Does help out the channel tremendously if y'all want to do that. If not, it's all good. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Let's hit 18,000 subscribers. Yes, woo!